It's 4:10. Should we get started?
Yes.
Yeah, woohoo! Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our session, Shaping the Future of Drupal. We're really excited to be here to share how design thinking has been really instrumental in driving the experience builder work. My name is Jillian Chuka, and I am a senior product designer at SalesLoft, but formerly of Acquia, and I miss my Acquia team so much. And I'm actually here in Atlanta, all the way from Boston.
And I'm Renee Lund. I'm a senior product designer at Acquia, and I'm current design lead on Experience Builder. I've been working in really close collaboration with Laurie, the Acquia Drupal acceleration team, and many talented Drupal developers. We've played a key role in shaping the vision and bringing Experience Builder to where it is today. So today, we'll take you through our design journey with Experience Builder, highlighting three key aspects: our design principles, our strategy and process, and the application of these to Experience Builder. We'll also demonstrate how this process helped us solidify design's role within the broader Drupal vision. We believe a structured process fosters creativity by eliminating decision paralysis. With clear boundaries, we can focus on exploring ideas instead of wondering where to start. Creativity thrives when there's a solid foundation to build upon. Our aim is to inspire you to develop effective processes for your own contributions to Drupal's future.
Okay, let's kick this off with an imagination moment. Pretend it's 1999. And yes, we were alive then. You're gearing up for a road trip to Atlanta, maybe one like Matt went on yesterday. Excitement is in the air, but so is a hint of dread. Your trusty co-pilot is a stack of paper maps. Their edges are frayed, they're bursting from the glove compartment, and with every wrong turn or missed exit, it just feels like a disaster. Anyone ever been there? Yeah. Well, trying to unfold these giant crinkly maps while keeping your eyes on the road, big problem. Or finding a gas station and hoping that the attendant can actually help you make sense of your half-baked description of like where you're trying to go if you're lost. It's this kind of anxiety that really feels like you're second-guessing your decisions. And then the worst part is realizing that halfway through all these shortcuts you planned, that you're actually adding hours to your trip. So fast forward to today, that experience is almost unrecognizable. And sure, you can still read a map if you really want to, but why wouldn't you use the tools that are meant to enable you to have a better, faster experience? Life was made a lot easier when GPS came into the picture. And now we have the ease of navigating the world right in our pockets.
Yeah, this problem is very similar to one we've seen in Drupal. We know new users feel similar pain points about navigating the UI of Drupal. And sure, people still use Drupal with no issues. We realize that while many of us here are seasoned Drupalists with a wealth of knowledge, there's a whole new audience, digital marketers, who need a better way to interact with the Drupal platform. And just like how we moved from paper maps to GPS, we wanted Experience Builder to do for Drupal what GPS did for road trips: make the journey smoother, faster, and more intuitive. And to get to this place, design thinking needed to take a front seat.
So let's talk about design thinking a little bit. We really see this as a process that guides us in creating those user-friendly and effective Drupal experience. It's about putting the user at the heart of everything we do and ensuring that we're solving the right problems for the right people. But it's important to note that with this process, design thinking isn't just for us, the designers. It's actually for everyone, because design's a team sport. Designers, product managers, developers, everyone needs to really collaborate closely throughout the process to make sure that we're sharing ideas and feedback. This process also helps us stay efficient. By proactively identifying potential problems at the beginning of the process, design thinking can actually save development time and resources in the long run. And with Experience Builder, we were told to move incredibly fast. I think that's an understatement. Maybe you guys would agree. This process was really an invaluable investment that helped us avoid a lot of costly rework later on.
And so overall, this process helps the team to be more user-centered. Everything we do is driven by understanding and meeting the needs of our users. We strive to build Drupal experiences that are both useful and enjoyable, creating value for our users. While our design thinking process gives us a clear structure, we also understand design as a journey of exploration and refinement. It's rarely linear, often requiring us to navigate ambiguity and embrace the messy middle. We explore, iterate, and learn, gradually refining our ideas. The goal is to move from initial uncertainty to a focused, user-centered solution, knowing the path isn't always straightforward. It's about balancing structure with essential exploration for truly impactful results. So let's start with the first step in the process, empathizing with the users. So what problems exist today with Drupal? Who are we trying to help? So our first step to getting to the root of these questions is to start at the source, the human beings who want to be a part of the Drupal community or who are today. So back when we were initially presented with this larger problem, we realized that digital marketers know that content has a shelf life. They need fast time to value and seek to quickly create digital experiences to meet their goals and KPIs. For those who have chosen Drupal, there is a large barrier to entry, knowing how to code. That's exactly the kind of frustration we want to eliminate for our users. In the empathize phase, we aim to understand those frustrations deeply. We step into the shoes of our users, marketers, content editors, site builders, and gather their perspective on Drupal. We want to know what they love, what they dislike, and what they wish was different.
So to address the many user challenges within Drupal, we began with deep listening. We needed to understand the target audience for this broader Drupal CMS vision, and that really required thorough discovery research. So we did a lot of active listening. We captured a lot of user feedback, one of which you can see here. I mean, this person, used the Drupal UI. You probably have heard it was overwhelming. It was confusing. I didn't know where I was going. And so to really truly empathize, we needed to feel what our users were feeling. And this immersive approach allowed us to identify critical behavior patterns and common pain points, providing invaluable insights for our design process. And our user interviews and data analysis really revealed those behavioral patterns that lead us to define the who, our personas. And it's crucial to understand that these aren't just corporate roles, they're representations of user needs and behaviors. So take our digital marketer example. It's not this monolithic user. It's actually a collection of these distinct personas you see here, each with unique jobs to be done, frustrations, and preferences. So by defining these personas, we can focus on things like how our users are thinking and how they're interacting with our tools. So for instance, we have Keith here, our site builder. He's going to be interacting with Experience Builder very differently from Roberto, our content editor, because Keith might prefer to use CSS or HTML, languages that we can guarantee Roberto likely doesn't know. So how do they work together harmoniously? As designers, we must ensure that our initial designs meet those expectations of both personas. And then what tasks users need to complete effectively? Roberto is going to be doing things like copywriting or adding words to a site page, whereas Jin, our digital strategist, she might be reviewing content before it gets published. Maggie might be building component designs for reusable content. The list goes on. But by designing for these specific audiences, we can ensure that our solutions are relevant for all.
So this brings us to our next step in the process, defining the problems we are going to solve. So to align to Experience Builder with the greater vision of Drupal CMS, we needed to identify the most impactful problems to solve. With these new personas in mind, we asked, out of all of the data we've collected, what problems can we solve that bring the most value to the users? With the diverse range of skills our personas represent, we knew we needed to approach this problem space strategically. We saw two possible paths. One would lead into Drupal's classic strengths, a reliable, flexible foundation that has stood the test of time. The other, a bolder vision, one that not only levels the playing field, but redefines it, outpacing the competition by combining Drupal's dependability with a more intuitive, modern experience. Both directions have merit, so we asked ourselves, what if we could have the best of both? That's where we decided to dig in, exploring what makes each path compelling to uncover the sweet spot between power and simplicity. So we didn't do this alone either. We created a triad of design, product, and engineering to align on all of the problems. So each discipline just bringing their own strengths, which what this diagram does a really great job of showing. That star is what we aim for. So desirability is defined by design. So does it fill a need? Will it fit into users' lives? Will it appeal to them? Do they want it? Viability, defined by product. Does the solution align with business goals? Is the budget realistic and appropriate? Is there a market? And feasibility, defined by engineering. Is the required infrastructure available? How long will it take to execute? Is it sustainable?
And so together, as a triad, we were able to prioritize the list of things that we thought would be the most valuable to users, at least within the scope and timeline for this new experience. And we identified that our personas struggle to make decisions in real time due to the lack of visibility. Drupal also has some pretty famous Drupalisms. There are so many that sometimes it's hard for users who are not in the know to understand concepts, sometimes even the basic ones. And finally, collaborating can be painful without the help of a highly skilled technical developer. So with these problems in mind, we started to form some hypotheses. If we allow for real-time live editing, users will actually be able to see the changes that they're making when they're creating content. If we align the language to more modern terminology that's familiar to a digital marketer, then we'll lower that knowledge barrier to entry. And if we create reusable components that can drag and drop onto the page, then users will be less reliant on their developers for simple content creation tasks. So, as designers, we're not just dwelling on problems, we're exploring the solutions. There's more than one way to skin a cat. We come to the table with alternatives as starting points for a conversation. And in this case, we created these two different wireframe concepts. Oh, there went my notes. Where did they go?
Hit Command Z.
There we go. Okay. Whew. Okay. All right. On the left, we've got this more constrained version. This represents a more pragmatic path. And this is actually about working within that existing Drupal framework, making smart, incremental improvements that we could implement and iterate on a relatively quick basis. And it's really about asking ourselves, what can we realistically achieve today? And on the right, we have a little bit more of a divergent version. This is where we start to let our imaginations run wild. It's about asking, what if we completely reimagined content creation in Drupal? And this involved exploring cutting-edge technologies, things like AI and working with teams with Freely Give, bringing in modern familiar patterns that would push Drupal into the modern CMS world. And the goal here with these designs is not to just pick one or the other, but it's really to use these concepts as a springboard for brainstorming, to generate more ideas, challenge assumptions, and really find the best possible solution for our users. These concepts weren't meant to be final designs. They really just help us understand the problem space better and envision what could be possible.
Yeah, so concepts help us get started on problem solving through visual exploration. So we sketch, diagram, and discuss ideas freely, aiming to generate a diverse range of potential solutions. It's about asking what if and exploring different approaches. This is where we challenge assumptions and think outside the box, allowing us to find innovative solutions to the challenges we've identified. So we've employed several methodologies to ensure our ideas were not only creative, but also strategically sound. These methodologies include benchmarking competitors to understand the market, information architecture creation to hone in on a clear structure and align with how Experience Builder fits within Drupal, terminology review for aligned language, task flows with key jobs to be done to understand how users might complete tasks. As we approach each method, we continued the spirit of collaboration by sharing our work and brainstorming sessions for diverse input and to ensure visibility into what we were doing. So these tools allow us to create a robust framework for ideation, which you'll see in action in the next few slides.
Okay, let's dive into benchmarking. This is where we're looking outside of our current project and trying to analyze what others might be doing. So for this project, we specifically focused on 3 key areas: navigation architecture, really understanding like the best practices and potential pitfalls from some of these different tools that we were looking at, like Framer, Squarespace, Builder.io. We looked within these tools to understand how users are easily locating features within the tool. We looked at terminology, trying to ensure clear, consistent, and user-aligned language. So why is benchmarking like this and looking at all these tools, why is it so effective? Well, it allows us to identify industry standards. We can see what works well in the market. So for example, we were hearing a lot about tools like Framer, so it makes sense to explore and understand what users even like about them. It also helps us avoid reinventing the wheel, leveraging proven patterns, confirming design decisions with real-world examples. And by benchmarking, we gain valuable insights for a more user-friendly experience.
So moving on to the information architecture, you can kind of see like a bird's eye view of one of the information architecture exercises we've done. But this stage is about organizing information to ensure clarity and findability. For Experience Builder, we focused on Drupal CMS connection, so like understanding how Experience Builder integrates with the existing Drupal CMS structure. User task pathways, mapping out clear pathways for users to successfully complete their tasks. Findability, ensuring users can easily locate and access the information they need. So why is information architecture creation so important? Well, it allows us to create a logical structure, ensuring the system makes sense to the user. It improves user efficiency, making it easier for users to complete the tasks, and then it overall enhances the usability, so leading to more intuitive experiences.
Okay, now terminology. This one's my favorite. During our ideation phase, we recognized the importance of clear and consistent language. And we weren't just looking at competitor terminology. We were also looking at our own internal jargon and how we communicate core concepts. So specifically, we tackled two key areas. We really wanted to clarify some of these Drupalisms. Drupal, like any other platform, has its own unique terms. We worked to demystify some of those terms that might be confusing to users, especially those who are new to Drupal, ensuring that they're clearly defined and explained just to be more inclusive. We also broke down the word content. The term content in Drupal seemed very vague. Sometimes it applied to nearly everything. So to address this, we started to break it down into more concrete, user-friendly pieces. We introduced the concept of a page entity and also defined a component library to provide more granular control and clarity for content creation. Now, why is this again so crucial? It again improves user understanding. It ensures that our users, especially our new digital marketers, that they can easily grasp some of those core concepts. And we knew this was a huge part of the learning curve in accessing Drupal, so we wanted to make it more inclusive. It also reduced confusion, eliminating jargon and ambiguous language, and enhanced communication between teams, fostering clear communication between each other, but then also fostering communication between users and the system itself.
So up here, we've got a user flow, some happy and unhappy scenarios, and a task flow. These are just little examples of more deliverables that we tried to deliver. So user and task flows, this step is about mapping out how users interact within Experience Builder. So ensuring we've considered all possible scenarios. We've identified these key flows for each area. So happy paths, these are the ideal, straightforward journeys users take to complete their tasks. Unhappy paths, these map out potential detours or roadblocks users might encounter along the way. We've got edge cases. These explore the less common but still possible scenarios users might find themselves in. And errors, we also defined error states so that we can design how the system responds to user mistakes and how to best guide the user on back to their happy path. So why are these task flows so crucial? They allow us to anticipate users' needs. By mapping out all possible scenarios, we can ensure we're meeting user needs at every step. We identify potential issues, we can proactively identify and address potential usability problems. We can design for resilience. We can design the system to handle errors in unexpected situations gracefully. So this step is also important to do before designers take to creating screens. This is a common mistake we have made in the past and learned from. It's easier to provide feedback when thinking in boxes and lines and not being distracted by the visual interface, which could change.
Mm-hmm. So building on our visionary concepts, user journey maps, defined problem statements, all these deliverables that we've just shared with you, now's where we can start prototyping. Prototypes, whether static mock-ups or interactive models, actually give us tangible tools to explore and refine our designs. And so to visually piece together Experience Builder, we utilized the Radix design system. Radix enabled us to prioritize functionality and user flows and minimize the time that we spent on things like granular styling or interaction designs. I think at this point we all knew how the button was going to look. We didn't need to keep creating buttons over and over again, and even the bigger components as well. But notably, this system is actually built with accessibility at its core, so it ensured that our designs are also usable by everyone. And now, to ensure that our Experience Builder design concepts were both innovative and feasible, we used a structured feedback approach inspired by this 30-60-90 method. This allowed us to gather the right input at the right time, minimizing rework and maximizing collaboration. So here you can actually see 3 different versions of a very similar function in Experience Builder. Each of these represents a different stage of feedback that we would bring to the team and share. So with a 30% on the end, that's more of this like broad ideation. And the goal with that is really to just gather input on overall direction, feasibility, technical constraints, and this early feedback helped us quickly refine the direction that we're taking, whatever we're designing. So for example, in the image on the far right there, you can actually see that we have an overwhelming amount of navigation. 3 main navs seem to be very overwhelming and something we want to avoid in our final solution. But when you move towards the middle, you'll see in our 60%, this is more of like a detailed design and alignment phase of the feedback session. And we would present detailed designs like this that might include an interactive prototype. We might include component specifications, specific interactions. And we really focused on aligning the design and engineering teams on those interactions and technical requirements here so that we could create a shared language. And this phase was also crucial for keeping our engineering team informed on the status of the feature. So here you'll see that single overloaded navigation, removing the 3 different navigations to one overloaded one, kind of highlighting we still needed a little bit more thought with navigation there. And then you get to this 90%, which is more of our final review and implementation. By the 90% stage, our designs are pretty much what we're going to be building. We presented final prototypes and specifications for review, ensuring that, hey, have we incorporated all the feedback that we got from the 30 and 60 concepts, and really finalizing our decisions for implementation.
Okay, so let's look at a significant change we made. You can see that top left one, it's got that big black bar, and then we've got the kind of light and airy one on the bottom right. So there's a significant change we made, which you just seen here. So user feedback was pivotal in our navigation redesign. The original design, that black bar, struggled with findability, particularly concerning the brand kit, which users expected to be the library. It also lacked the modern aesthetic users desired. This led to a thorough redesign, focusing on a clear library and a contemporary look. So retesting validated these changes, demonstrating the power of user-driven iterations. This reflects our fast-paced work, as we needed to stay ahead of development to allow time for these iterations. And we're excited to continue evolving Experience Builder as there's more to come. We're not stopping here. Experience Builder is evolving to meet the demands of modern site building. We're introducing out-of-the-box components, making it easier than ever to build powerful sites. And for those who need it, a code editor will allow for full customization. We're also bringing a drag-and-drop interface to the table, allowing for rapid site creation and a visual publishing interface that will revolutionize how users manage both structured and unstructured content. We're confident that these features will bring Drupal into the future of modern CMS experiences.
So as we continue our path forward, we meet the final step in our design process, which is testing along the way. And we've already mentioned user testing several times in this presentation. I think that really highlights the importance of checking in with our users. We rely on user feedback to verify our progress and ensure that we're delivering a desirable Drupal experience.
playing. Okay, so this video is a prototype of the capabilities we have design concepts for. So they're gonna change, but this gives you a good direction of kind of where we're at. But as we continue to work on the roadmap, we have ensured that the user's voice continues to be advocated for. This is something that kind of represents like the where the early preview release was, and we've done some internal testing too most recently. So that's really exciting. We get to iterate on some of that feedback. But if you think you would like to be a user tester for Experience Builder, please reach out and let us know, especially if you or someone you know fits the digital marketer persona, or if you think it just looks cool and is something you would like to use in your daily work. We love hearing from users.
So we imagine a world where life will be much easier with Experience Builder in it. And just as we've learned to navigate our world with increasingly effective tools, Experience Builder is designed to guide users through the creation of exceptional digital experiences.
Yeah, our design process is never done or over. Experience Builder's foundation is built on a design process of constant iteration and improvement. Design is not a linear process. It's a cycle that continues. This ongoing journey of refinement ensures we're continuously improving and adapting to users' needs, creating a truly powerful platform.
So if you want to help us in the design process, tell us what you think about the current version of XB. You can scan this here and take a survey or reach out to us. But this has been our presentation. Thank you again for your time. And we can open the floor to any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you.
Yay! Anybody questions about the design process? I know this team right here probably has tons. Tim.
Have you talked to or worked with the Drupalisms working group that exists within the community?
That's a good place for us to go. Okay, so the question was, have we talked to the Drupalisms community group, working group? And we haven't, but that's a good place for us to go next and go reach out to. So thank you. Love that. It's called feedback.
Great.
We also love a little trolling. It's fine.
We welcome it.
We're used to it.
Any other
Anybody,
questions?
thoughts, question, design? Anybody excited to use Experience Builder?
Yeah.
Yay!
Any certain
I want to see what the real tool looks like.
any certain feature that like stands out to anybody, or anything that you're looking through here and just got you excited? Code editor.
Code
Everyone loves a good code editor.
I'm curious, there are some talks about layout builder. You decided to use a different design system. Is there a rationale why you choose a different one?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So for the recording, why did we use the Radix design system over the Layout Builder design system? I think we can speak in part to that. The Radix design system kind of came out of the box already accessible. So we didn't have to worry about kind of baking accessibility into a design system or even creating a new one. We could just pull those components both into Figma, and then the developers could pull those components into their code. And we were able to kind of create like seamless designs from there that when we passed designs to developers, they could just pull right from what they already had. Yeah. I think we're also trying to be very different from Layout Builder, because we did review Layout Builder quite extensively and tried to kind of figure out some of the quirks, which we had listened to users use Layout Builder, and there was a lot of feedback around kind of like how they navigated that particular system. So this is a really great question. I don't know if you want to speak any more to using Radix.
I think the other part about the Radix design system is like, not only is it like super usable to create this experience, it's been really helpful for us like to rapidly work through things, as we've said, but it's also been really great from the engineering perspective, I think, in terms of being able to have that for building blocks. And it's a familiar design system for like modern users, and they're very much like it's familiar. It feels good to them. Like it's got good usability. So, yeah.
And it's open source, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo. Ted.
experience builder, but did you find any of the tools that you did that did like content templating where people are designing something that's going to be reused multiple times, that any of those tools did really well?
Well, the most recent content type template review would probably, I would say Webflow has been doing it pretty well. There's a minimal capability in Framer, but it's not as powerful as something that we need to give users the solution for. But it's been we've definitely been looking at Webflow, and then I know that we had looked at like WordPress and stuff, but I think it's in the works right now, the content type templates, like as we speak. But yeah, that's where we've been pulling a lot of inspiration from, is from Webflow, and just kind of leveraging what other pain points like we can do better on that's in the current like Drupal experience. So like, again, taking what works and what doesn't, and hopefully we can build something better.
I think one thing too that we found with the content type templates specifically was users didn't want to have to like switch context back and forth and like go in and out of tabs. What Framer does really nicely is they allow you to kind of like within the same thought go into whatever content it is you're doing, and then quickly jump back into that experience builder canvas. But at scale is kind of the question with Framer, because I don't know what their scalability was a little lacking. But yeah.
On the tools that you saw, the tools you just mentioned that Ted asked about, what percentage of what the ambition is for Experience Builder do they do? As in, is it 10% of what Experience Builder aims to do? Is it 90%? As in, how much inspiration can you draw from it versus how many things need to be invented?
Great question.
I think that it's definitely, I mean, we certainly don't want to copy exactly what they're doing, pulling inspiration and good patterns. And like, there are some things that we can do better too. So like, I don't know if I can really give it a percentage, but I do think there's an opportunity for us to win in the content type templates. And I think we're going to, because we're just really digging into this research piece of like how we can differentiate it, right?
That's a balance, I would say, where I think that's where the testing comes into play, where it's like we can understand, okay, this might be how Framer does it, or this might be how Webflow does it. If we design it like this, does that still solve the problem that we're seeking to solve? And if it does solve the problem, is there a way to do it quicker? Is there a way to do it more seamless? Can it be automated? And I think kind of looking at the steps in that broken down version before we get to the screens, and kind of understanding how the user is accomplishing something before we get into this is how we're going to design it, is really crucial to making sure we're not only meeting the expectations out there, but then exceeding. It's tricky. But it's also, I think, important too to also have that dialogue and collaboration with people. It was really crucial to have the dialogue with both product and Lori, and then also being able to like speak to our engineers and say, hey, like, we had this crazy idea. We drew inspiration from this task. Maybe this would work. Like, is this even feasible to build? Because if it isn't, and you guys come back to us and are like, this is going to take hours to build, weeks, then maybe we need to like redirect and try and find another solution. Yeah. Collaboration, I think, is the key to all of design.
Yeah. I mean, and the other cool thing that we've been noticing too, and like we've been looking obviously at these competitors, we're like, oh, well, this is why they haven't done this, because this is extremely complex and difficult. And so it's a really fun kind of unique situation that we're in, that we get to solve for this problem. It's going to take a little bit because it is a very unique challenge and it hasn't been solved yet. So there is, like I said, a lot of opportunity, I think, for us to shine in that space.
That was a good question.
Any other questions?
We have like 5 minutes. if anybody is like burning questions. If not, we can end early. Cool. Well, this has been really awesome. Thank you again
you
for
all for
coming to our talk. We really loved it.